Steve will do the invocation.
Thank you, Lord, for allowing us to gather here today as Lions and friends. We pray your blessing on those that cannot be with us. We pray your blessing on those that are suffering from illnesses and are not able to be with us. We praise you for the food that we eat today, that it will strengthen our bodies and our love for you and for each other. Amen.
Al?
Am I supposed to sing it?
No. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Marilyn?
My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of thy pilgrims pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Bob, do we have any guests back there?
Good morning, President Lloyd, fellow Lions. Yes, we have one guest, Keith Stark. The poor guy who moved next door to Dick Sorensen is here again.
Darlene?
Yes, sir. Oh, here. I don't know if it's on or not. President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests. Okay, this is the third time going through our officers and the board members for next year, and then we will vote. So immediate past president will be Lloyd Williams. President Cheryl Coast. First VP Carrie Ann Patero. Second VP Cindy Sessions. Third VP Sharon Nolan. Lion Tamers Ann Carnata, Rick and Anna Hartley. Tail Twisters Isla Huster, Steve Johnston, Sula Sihak. LCIF Hal Palmer. Membership Chair Greg Firth. Secretary Leroy Porcel. Treasurer Pat Palmer.
Recount.
First year director Rose Dickinson, Rick Johnston, and Mark Kelch. Second year director Dillinger, Jane Gurdon, and Marilyn Patterson. Are there any other nominations?
The nominations be closed.
It has been moved and seconded that nominations be closed. Okay, so the motion is to accept these as our board and officers for next year. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Yay.
Okay. Thank you.
Pat, we don't listen to you. That's right, including no SB
Okay, Tail Twisters.
So get up. I don't care. Okay. All right, here. Here. Are we doing something? Oh. Oh, he can't carry a blue bucket, but he'll donate.
Oh, President Lloyd, fellow Lions guest. You know, it's been so long since I've been picked on by a short one. Anyway, hey everybody, of course you saw our own wonderful Rose surrounded by the thorn Eric on the front page. Is that great? Woo! As your treasurer's report, I also wanted to let you know that it's their first week out. They did very, very well and balanced to the penny. Kudos, ladies and gentlemen. We'll find out about this week later. Third happy buck. Let's see. Had a lovely 10th anniversary weekend out at the Shelbourne Inn in Long Beach with my lovely Jerry. Fourth happy buck. She left this morning for 2 weeks in the Seattle area. Yes, bye baby, I love you. I'm going to go out to my shop and have a great time. Fifth happy buck, and I'm going to steal a little bit of the thunder from Lion John Claypool. Was able to get over to Lion John's house last Thursday night, and we put the new parts on the outboard. We put the new fuel lines up to the filter, and we messed around a little bit, kind of like Corey was at Dwayne's house a year or so ago. 5 pulls, and we could tell it wanted to go, and boy, little squirt of WD-40, that 6th pull, that motor just fired right up, and I was like a brand new piece of machinery. Way to go, John Claypool. Excellent helper, great fun. Can't wait to see the fish they catch.
Dwayne.
President Lloyd, fellow lions and guests, starting to rust, and I'd like to get out of town, so I'm going to go down to Las Vegas for 4 weeks. Also, the other happy buck is for Marilyn. Marilyn Patterson got her gorgeous hat on. Easter bonnet.
Thank you, Dwayne. By the way, did you know that when you get your picture in the paper, your photo? Thank you, Eric Halverson. Would you like to say something, since how you already did it? Oh, he's shy and retiring. Maybe shy, he's too young to retire. Okay, Miss Marilyn, it's your turn, darling.
Well, since I'm not working, I usually get money from him now, so. President Lloyd, fellow lions and guests, we have a surprise visit from our eldest son and his family. On Friday, we spent the day with them. That was really fun. About my Easter bonnet. Our church had a pancake feed and encouraged the ladies to wear Easter hats, and the gentlemen wore bow ties. So you did see that man in a bow tie, and you saw Bob Piper, and they were in their element because they were working the kitchen, whipping pancakes and whatever. So it was a great day, Easter weekend.
Yeah.
So you were working it? Who called me? Oh, Rose? Okay. Uh-oh. Rose is going to do something she never does, and that's speak for someone else. Thank you. President Lloyd, fellow lions and guests. Yes, it was so nice that the Daily News showed up, and Bob Piper said yes to having our picture taken. And for Eric, at least Red Canoe knows where you're spending those 2-hour lunches at. Thank you. You work at Red Canoe? Woo-hoo! Oh, okay. Mr. John Claypool.
Minister.
President Lloyd, fellow lions and guests, a couple of happy hours. I'm getting to see some faces. Our guest speaker, Don Cardon, is an old friend. He's been in Phoenix, the area, for quite a while. But he and I have both had the same mentor. Mark's dad, Morris Kelch, Mo Kelch, a lot of you guys remember him. And I'm sure that Don's as thankful as I am for Morris. Second happy dollar, Steve. Nice to see you. Really nice to see you. Third happy dollar was a Easter Sunday barbecue in the rain. Got that prime rib out of there, and it was special, according to my son. I have that's fine.
No, we don't. Hey, I have a quote.
I'll take the rest of his, whatever he needs to give you. King Lion Lloyd, fellow Lions guests, yeah, happy dollar for seeing Steve again. And then the other one is the picture in the paper. I didn't realize we were going to be there until fall. But I thought we'd go down to the lake and do other stuff eventually. But anyway, it's nice to see us in the paper.
Thank you. But let's see, who were you again? Hal Palmer, past council chair.
Thank you, President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests. Happy dollar to see Steve. And later on, I got a happy dollar for you. I want to tell you why. Do not let your wife read National Geographic this month. And here's why. There's 3 different countries now where they are having complete animal shelters. Everything from ducks to elephants and bigger. Can you imagine what would happen if Paula saw that article?
Yeah.
Does your wife like animals? Okay, I'll go to Katie first because he just took a bite of food.
Yes, you did.
Katie?
You didn't name the baby? No.
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, I have a happy dollar. As some of you may have seen in the roar that Leroy sent out yesterday. Yeah. The Chamber of Commerce Awards are up and nominations are out. The Longview Pioneer Lions are nominated for the Service Organization of the Year.
So everybody vote.
So everybody vote. Pat Palmer is nominated as Business Individual of the Year. And I am nominated for the Rising Star Award. You can find the link on the Chamber of Commerce Facebook page. It's in the roar. Let me know if you need any more help finding it, and somebody can get it to you.
What about the expanding award?
Gertrude. I like Gertrude.
Abigail.
Larry?
King Lion Lloyd, fellow Lions guests, I got a sad dollar and a happy dollar. Sad dollar last week I couldn't be here because I was fighting an influenza type thing again. The happy dollar because I am here this week.
Oh, Dick! Well, in that case, Steve can have me first. Because he, along with Ron, are my favorites.
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, I know you all miss me like heck, but I'm back after 7 months.
Pat, don't worry. I'll get to you later. Steve. Whoever the heck you are, Rick.
Sleep on the brain. I'm not.
King Lion Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests. Completed a dinner with my family on Sunday. So I had 3 grandkids running around. Yeah. Yeah. And this is for Steve. He's here. Thank you. No, this is Steve. Thank you. And I also sent my money in for the 19G convention, so.
Were you yelling, "You kids get off my lawn" all day? Steve?
Yeah,
He
really.
didn't see you.
Yeah. Here.
Yeah, here. The pool with the grass planted in it.
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, first is a real happy thought. I guess I'm glad to see Steve here today. I'm really happy to see Judy from with us. Always good to see you. The other dollar is a sad dollar. I remember we heard about Mike Parker's wife passed with the liver cancer. I've been texting Mike back and forth. They just found out over the weekend that their oldest daughter has cancer back. So they're in pretty much of a tizzy, so keep in your thoughts and prayers.
That just breaks my heart. Anybody over here got money? Money, money, money.
Save the best for last.
I'm saving the best for last.
That'll be you, boss.
No, that would be Sharon.
Oh, sorry. President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, I have a really happy dollar because I got to see my mommy for 10 days in California and I just flew back yesterday. Got to the church and they had a big party for me and family and vitamin D is good for the soul.
Absolutely.
Cool. And here's for I fly back safe because I'm not a good flyer like I told you before. Thank you.
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests. I flew down in California, watching my son play ball. We had a good weekend, or a good week, won some games, and there's been a little bit of sun down in Arizona. In California now, this is a sad dollar because I'm back in the rain. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Arizona.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And to my favorite
Oh,
bestie,
there's some down there.
Sharon.
I'm coming.
I guess you didn't save the best for last.
Hey, watch it.
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, this is a happy dollar just because I am back and COVID-free.
God, I was having Sharon withdrawals. Hey, Mark, how you doing? You got something to say?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, first happy dollar is for a couple of upcoming Lions functions. The 19C conference is this weekend. I'm going to go up with Steve in Maryland to Tacoma to that one on Saturday. And then Monday is our Four for Reading. They go hand out books to kids at the elementary school and read to the kids. I'm looking forward to both of those. Second happy dollar, got to do a Easter video online conference call, whatever, for Easter with my siblings, my biological siblings. So both sisters and my brother. We had a great conversation for about an hour. That was really nice. Dollar number 3, very happy to have Don Cardon. It's been a chore trying to connect with you for the last couple of years for a program. Very happy that you were here. Wonderful to see Steve Johnston as well, and Judy, good to see you back there as well. Quote of the week is from St. Francis of Assisi. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Now some have said that I haven't had any humorous quotes, so I was reminded when I did this that there is a quote related to joy. Many people bring joy, some when they come into a room, some when they leave.
I think we are done. Okay. Mark? Lloyd?
Greg.
Greg?
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, I just got a text from Mike Parker. The motions are pretty high over there at their house. If you want to get in touch with him, he requests to go to you with a text or with an email. Okay.
All right, Mark.
Thank you, President Lloyd. As I mentioned earlier, I've been trying to get Don as a program to come up for probably a couple of years now. I think I started a couple of years ago. Then when I had the opportunity to do programs in January and February, neither of those dates worked. And he had a date available in April, and as it turned out, I get to do April programs too. So I said, hey, well, those dates will work. I feel somewhat bad because I heard last minute you had to juggle around a closing that you're working on, but it works out. Don Cardon is founder and CEO of Cardon Development Group. They specialize in private-public partnerships, also known as P3s. He had been the director of Longview Housing Authority. I think that's where I probably first connected with Don when my father was working with you. He was also director of Community and Economic Development for the city of Longview. He was the deputy director of Housing and Development for the city of Phoenix. Then he went on to become the director of the Arizona State Department of Housing, a director and CEO of the Arizona Commerce Authority. Some of the projects he's worked on include the cityscape development in downtown Phoenix. I think that's about $1 billion project from what I remember from the notes. And developed the Williston Square, Williston Basin International Airport. I haven't heard much about that. He's a frequent speaker, traveling around and speaking. I realized that you're also an author. I didn't realize that portion of it before. On building successful private-public partnerships. Don and his wife Kim have been married for 40 plus years. They have 3 children. I know at least 2 of them are grown at this point, but we probably hear a little bit more about that. He's also a former member of the Longview Pioneer Lions. With that, please give a warm welcome to Don Cardon.
Thank you. President Lloyd, and yes, just members, it's a privilege to be here. You probably don't have a lot of speakers, I don't know if this thing will work, I was told it, that at times this could really evoke emotion for me, and you kind of go in, it's a Lions Club, and it's a lot more than that to me. As you'll see, we've got some pictures of things that I've been blessed to be able to do work-wise, but when I come back here, I see John and I see Mark and familiar faces, some of you. I moved here in 1982. Kim and I were married in 1980, so we've been married 43 years. But I got my start, over in Kelso at the Kelso Housing Authority as a maintenance guy, riding Kubota lawnmowers and mowing grass over at the Cowlitz Villa there. And cleaning out drain lines and climbing under crawl spaces and doing work orders. And then we moved away, went down in the 80s to try to go to school and do some stuff. My wife's from Tucson and the Phoenix area, so we moved down there. My parents had moved down there. Was there a couple of years, and a job came open for the Longview Housing Authority in 1989. And so some of the stuff that I share may seem kind of different, but I'm just going to be honest, as this is my story. There's a former guy that some of you may know, he's since passed, sadly, a very dear friend, Paul Trickle, used to own Rose Trickle Honda. Paul was like a brother to me, and in '89, my wife and I were struggling down, and we'd moved down to Arizona for a couple of years, and I worked for housing authorities down there. Because I'd worked for the Kelso Housing Authority from '82 through '87 as a maintenance guy, and ultimately a maintenance supervisor. And I was blessed to have a woman there that gave me a chance to come in and learn some things on the inside of the office, and so it started a career path in housing, in public housing. But we went down to Arizona, and then I so missed the Northwest, was homesick. We moved back up here, and the Longview Housing Authority job came open. And Paul and his wife Anita were close friends that we had developed in the early 80s. And we were at their house, and we were frankly praying about this opportunity. And this is where it sounds kind of weird, but this is actually a thing happened. Is you can kind of put this where you want to, but Paul goes, I just have this weird picture, and I hate to say it, but I think you're going to meet this. I just have this picture, you're going to meet this elderly man, and he's going to welcome you to this interview, and I think God's going to give you favor in this thing. So I go over to the old housing authority office, and it was 2 stories at that time. The lady, the receptionist said, sit here, and the board's meeting upstairs, and down walked this gentleman that was Mo Kelch.
that introduced himself. He was 71 years old at that time. And they ended up hiring me, and I ended up working there from 89 through 96. And then I got involved heavily in the Mint Farm Industrial project. I ended up being hired to be the project lead on that, along with Bob Gregory, who then, in fact, had coffee with Bob. Bob now has worked with me for 3 or 4 years remotely up here and stuff I do around the country. But, you know, I'm going to show some pictures. There's a picture right here of 2 towers. This is actually 1 block of 3 blocks. This is on Main and Main in downtown Phoenix. It's the 5th largest city in the country. When I moved down, I was a housing director over development. So Longview had been very kind to me. And I'm going to share a few pictures of things that, you know, that have happened work-wise, but this has nothing to do. This is the emotional part. I could care less about. I mean, I'm very proud of this stuff, and it's been a real blessing for our family that we were able to do the things we did. But more importantly, I'm at that nostalgic age of 63 where you begin to start really kind of going, okay, and you know, done a lot of different things, but you come back and you remember things. And one of my biggest memories and my greatest things is John shared. We were both mentored by Mo. The lunches that I would have every Tuesday, I would, you know, or Wednesday, whenever it was, I think back then it was Tuesday, but we'd meet at Masthead and go over there and have halibut fish and chips. And Mo was like a father figure to me in a business sense. And I was really confident, very insecure, really wanted, you know, people to know that I was something. I think he knew that, but he had the ability to kind of, instead of saying, don't be like that, it was like he had this ability to kind of encourage me and steer me. I never felt like Mo ever needed anything from me. He was always for me. He was always so unaware of himself, and his ability to be unaware of himself was so what I needed, because I didn't have any idea what that was. It was always achievement-oriented, things like that, whether sports or whatever. And I do believe that God gave me a gift to envision things, and you know, it's proved out. So those years were really, really important to me. So I'm going to share a little bit about the journey and then come back to that, because my desire to share with you today is not to get up and go, hey, I was here and look what I did, and you know, isn't that wonderful? Because that would so not be what I want. What I want to share about is you guys, and about the impact that you still, I don't care how old you are, how you sit here, your days are not done. The ability to still affect lives in your sphere of influence, whatever that is, whether it's small, whether it's work related, whether it's family related, whether it's you know, adult children that you think your time of investing into them is either concluded or it is what it is, and there's no hope for more. I just want to challenge that and encourage you guys, because now all of this, what it really has done for me is we have a special needs child. So in 1994, when we were here, we couldn't have children. For whatever reason, we couldn't have children. And we ended up adopting a child from the Vancouver Catholic Community Services. And the money that it took to adopt that child was loaned to me by Morris Kelch. Because we didn't have the money, we weren't from a wealthy family. 7 months later, we got a call back. Her name was Emma, and she's just such a pride and joy of my life. 7 months later, they called up and said, we know that, you know, your home study's still active, and you said that ideally you'd love to have 2 children. We have a little boy, but you have like 24 hours to tell us because he wasn't expected and we need to place him. Again, we're like paying debt off on Emma's adoption, you know, and at that time I'm working for the Housing Authority, and it was a great job. It wasn't like I was making a lot of money. And once again, Mo stepped up and funded that. And so, you know, there's just a lot of gratitude. So this little Lions Club means a lot more to me. But anyway, I remember we had a Longview Housing Authority board meeting in an old Commerce Cafe. It used to be down in the basement down there years and years ago, and we would have a little room there. And I got the call during the meeting from the Catholic Community Services saying, you guys have been selected, we have a little baby girl for you. And that happened when we were having that meeting. And anyway, I went on to have that support. And at the time, we had a kind of what I consider to be a local antagonist. I won't say who the person's name was, but there was a gentleman that just got rifled up about a lot of things here in Longview. And at the time, I just felt like, it was overwhelming. He's against me, and he was part of a group called the Sandbag or something. He may have been on it, I don't know. But my little world that was all about me at that time, just felt like it was such a big attack and everything. And I remember Morris sitting there and just, I'd say something, trying to defend myself. And I remember Morris just saying, oh, bullshit, Don. It's like, you just need to understand that it's like, just do the right thing. Just keep doing the right thing over and over and over again. Just keep doing the right thing. It doesn't even matter. But it wasn't like he was slapping me. It was like, no, come this way instead. Instead of focusing on why you're right and somebody else is wrong, go this way. And some of those lessons that I learned in this little town ended up, in a nutshell, when I went down there to the city of Phoenix, I had an enormous opportunity. I spoke at the Arizona State Symposium on what was called the Art of the Deal, because I was involved in the city for the city of Phoenix. And I did a thing called the Art of the Deal. And at that time I said, if you want to develop downtown Phoenix, this is the way to do it. And people thought it was, brash, to say the least. But that little speech got an introduction to, Hal, if you can point to a picture with some people on it. There we go. So the fellow on the right is Jerry Colangelo, who's the former owner of the Phoenix Suns, Arizona Diamondbacks. He's the chairman of USA Basketball, Hall of Fame NBA player. The middle person is Governor Jan Brewer, who appointed me to lead the state commerce department and privatize it. So I led the state of Arizona's global economic policies, and we did it together. But a lot of that was born out of here. A lot of that was the ability to, Morris never challenged any kind of crazy thought that I had, or doing the men farm, and Bob and I would travel the country trying to get people to come in. We got Prudential Steel back in the day. But when I left Longview, I left because I wanted to be the assistant city manager. And I was a community, this is being a little vulnerable. And the city manager at that time had talked to me and gave me the reason to believe I would be. But instead, he picked Bob Gregory to be the assistant city manager to replace a guy named Nelson Graham, who many of you may remember back in the day. Nelson, I could go on and on about his impact on my life as well. But at that time, when I was told that I wasn't going to be the assistant city manager, and it was my dream, I'd gone through graduate school, it was totally there, that was my path in life. And as I was informed by the city manager that I wasn't going to be that person, they picked somebody else, I left that office up on the second story of City Hall, and by the time I hit the stairs walking down, I was in a full cry, which isn't totally unusual for me, but it was symbolic of the devastation that I felt. And I thought, Lord, what are you doing? I went into my office, and I was just in there by myself, door shut, and city manager came in and said, I'm so sorry, and I said, I just can't talk to you right now. And it was like the world was coming apart, and I didn't, little did I know that the stuff that I believe God had for me down in Phoenix would happen, but there needed to be some maturing, there needed to be some breaking, there needed to be what you guys have all lived through, life does to you, right? You get more defined on what's important and what's not. So I left, broken, went down and I did this speech on the art of the deal, and I came up with an idea to do downtown Phoenix. The picture that was up there of the high-rises represents 2 high-rise towers that are part of a 3-block area that myself, the current owner of the Diamondbacks, a guy named Ken Kendrick, who was a sponsor for me, and another group, three individuals were the owners of Cityscape. I was one of 3. It was a $1.2 billion project that activated the entire downtown of Phoenix. I sold my interest into that. The governor appointed me, Governor Brewer, to come in at that time and during the recession of 08, 09, and to chart a path for Arizona's reentry into prosperity, because it was all housing and stuff at that time. And so I did that and was successful in doing that. I left from there, and Hal, if you can turn to the picture of the airport, I had an opportunity to go to Williston, North Dakota, out in the Bakken, in the plains of North Dakota. And it's a longer story, but I got an introduction to meet with the governor then. They had heard about Cityscape. They'd heard about what I did in commerce, my involvement in privatizing commerce, because basically in commerce I laid off 150 people, including myself, and was not popular, and we kept 24 people, and it exploded the state in terms of readdressing things from the private sector instead of the public sector, and it kind of sent some shockwaves around the country. So I ended up having a lot of opportunities around the nation to go, and this was one of them. That's an international airport. It's actually a large airport, and so we ended up building that. Cardon Development did, and that opened in 2019. And since then, I come back, and now we're doing things for autistic kids with Grand Canyon and supporting a lot of philanthropy. And in November, I met with Pope Francis in the Vatican and gave him a global strategy for the Vatican and what they're facing worldwide in their holdings. And my point is, it's unusual stuff that little did I know when I was told that I'm not going to be the assistant city manager and driving down in a Ryder truck in tears what I believe God had for me, which it's not just this is what he had for me. It's being able to be a part, being able to understand it's not about me. It's don't get me wrong, I'm very proud of the things that I come up with and ideas and things, but here I am now at 63, the kids are out, we have companies, I've hired people to run those, and now I'm really traveling more with this nonprofit that I've created called Vision Fuel that really talks about it's great to have a vision for your lives, but you really need to understand who you are as a person and own your life. Why do we do the things we do? What really matters? And each of us we all have a responsibility to decide on that, and we do decide on that with our choices and everything else. And so today I'm just really coming back, and what I wanted to do is to come back and really thank Morris through Mark, but also I look at Mark and Mark as a representation of the heart of Morris. I mean, how many decades Mark's just given to this club, this community. John, there's so many, even faces that I see that we've aged over the last 34 years, but I'm very, very grateful. And I guess my encouragement would be, what opportunities do you have as an individual as you sit there that you may not speak to somebody that's going to go and address Pope Francis one day, but you don't know. And even that isn't the highest thing, but if you can have an effect on somebody that changes a generation and a lineage of a family, that believes that it's better to hope and believe the best about people instead of critique everything in a family. If you have the ability to change with your children and your grandchildren or business people, that your story is not just about you, but it's an exposure that allows you to be an encouragement and a blessing to people. And so I know this is an older club, and I think, take that life's learning and don't stop, and don't, none of us are called to retire from life. That's decided by somebody other than us, And the days that we have are a blessing. They don't need to be a blessing in the eyes of everybody else, but they have the ability, you have the ability to right now, what's on your plate today? If you're wondering what are you going to do in the future, what's on your plate today? Are you going to live vicariously in the future of what you still hope to do? Or are you going to live today? Because I would always live on what I hope to do. That would fuel my purpose. I'd just keep achieving and achieving. And I still believe I'm called to do that. It's hard to give what you don't have, so we continue to feel like we're called to give to different causes and things. But again, I'm just here to thank Morris, to you guys. It's my understanding that Mark just told me it's the 100-year anniversary of the club, and in November, which I'm really such amazement of that, and my memory of being in the club is I would do the lights on Lions Island with Morris. That was my favorite thing to do back in the day with him. We'd do White Cane at sometimes, some events together. He would always just kind of have me be there with him. I wasn't this super involved Lions guy. I was more focused on myself and kind of what I was doing at that time. But I guess I just wanted to bring encouragement today and say that, you never know what life's plans are for you. And no matter how old you are, it doesn't mean that, that you've got the lock on what you think your life is. Don't be surprised that, in my mind, the creator of the universe may want to tap you and say, you're not done. There's still another person to hear your encouragement. There's still another person to feel the encouragement of. Life's not about us. It's about the ability to affect lives. And it's a privilege for me to be here. I'm grateful. I'm humbled. I took a picture of this to send to my wife because, we spoke. When I was speaking with Pope Francis, we were 10 feet away and talking about, you're sitting there kind of going, okay, this is unusual, about how do you do it, but at the same point, when I would drive through the mint farm and park in the cul-de-sacs and pray over that thing and say, Lord, bring some people for the good of the community, or bring blessing to this, or working on the renovation of the Columbia Theater back 30-some years ago that I was involved in a lot. I still drive by and see the lights up in the towers of the Columbia Theater at night, and I think there's elderly people that live up there that don't have awareness of who I am. It was my first big project. It was doing the Columbia Theater back in 1993, and that really launched a lot. But it's not about all those things, and it's certainly not about this. This is just a reference to encourage what the mentorship can be. And I don't know your name, but the up-and-comer type of a word. It's like, it starts now. It doesn't start once you get older and achieve. It's like, now start the stuff of mentoring now. It's different words. People like to use mentor as you get older, but it's the same thing. Be an encourager. Be thankful. Be grateful. And just with that, I'd like to participate with you guys. I'd like, on Mo's behalf, and I'd like to, I understand how you're working on a 100-year type of thing with Lions Islands, and I'd like to anonymously, but in the name of Morris Kelch, give you guys $10,000, just to be part of that, just to participate. And so you're welcome. But it's really, it's almost embarrassingly not enough. No, that's okay, we'll take it.
All the embarrassment you want.
Anyway, I didn't see that one. So I'm speaking tomorrow with, I do these conferences called Vision Fuel, that breaks down for young entrepreneurs, how do you create a vision and a plan that will make it, that will sustain. We're doing stuff around the world right now with national security and all kinds of things. You just never know, you guys, what things we have in store for us. And the things that you're called to do are as equally, if not more important than this stuff. So thank you for allowing me to come and share. I hope to be an encouragement. Thank you for letting me come here. And I'm really grateful to be here, Mark, and and John in particular. These are like old friends of mine, and it's so good to give John a hug. Thank you for letting me come and share today. I'd open it any questions or whatever.
On behalf of the Lions Club, we want to give you a mug and the application.
Just so you know, Don, you can fill out the application again and you can remote in every Tuesday.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, right?
Questions?
Yeah.
Any questions? Do we have any questions for Don here?
Very.
Wake up, Steve.
Yeah, Don, thank you for the words that you did out there. That's very nice of you, and obviously the donation. I knew you when you were in the club before, and I worked for a title company that did a lot of stuff down in the Mint Valley, or the Mint Farm. And I know that a few years before I retired and stuff, that you had a vision for redoing the downtown here in Longview, that you came back with the Cardon Community College, I think, and areas private Columbia Theater. It all fell apart, obviously, but I never figured out why it didn't. Anyway, it didn't work through. But it's nice to know that you didn't put your head down again, and obviously knowing you, I knew you didn't, but that you went on to doing even better things. So congratulations.
Any other questions? All right, then, thanks a lot.
You bet.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Okay. Marilyn has an announcement.
President Lloyd, fellow Lions and guests, I want to continue to remind you, May 12th and 13th, I'm getting more information about our convention and conference. And thank you, Leroy, for sending that information out in the Roar. You can actually go online for Leroy's email and pick up all the information. There's several contests, so just wanted to call your attention to that. Maybe the executive board could look at that and see if there's something that our club could participate in for the convention. And I think I mentioned some breakout sessions, and they have been refined. And I've noticed that there are several people here involved. It's wonderful to see our district and its teamwork. So still have registrations available in front of Bob Piper. And if you want to go to the convention, please let me know.
Steve.
President Lloyd, members and guests, Roar for Reading is next Monday at Columbia Heights Elementary School. We have lots of sign-ups, but we do have a hitch, and I think it involves the Parkers. So Katie, I know I asked if you would, I think I need you for the morning. That way we won't worry about Mike and Pat because they can't be there. Cindy, you've signed up. Okay, great. Hal has signed up.
Mark.
Greg Firth, Mark Kelchis in the morning, Vern Foster, Eric Tormson. Eric already knows. I'll get in touch with Vern Foster. I don't believe he's here. No. Anyway, thank you all. It looks to be all the books are in. They're all ready to be put out, and it's always a fun thing, and maybe we can drop a hint to the lady at the newspaper, see if she wouldn't mind dropping by.
What time?
You need to be there at 8:30. Our first group will be probably 9 o'clock. But the books are in boxes and they need to be put out on the tables, and then the kids will arrive. We'll read them a short story. They only have about 15 total minutes. So we read them a quick story and let them get their books, and we stamp a stamp in the margin of the book so that they can put their name on it. It's their, we call it their forever book.
Did you say short story?
I did, yes, I did.
Brief story.
No, he said brief stories.
A brief, short story. Okay. Also, on the 28th, which is the last Tuesday of the month, we'll be doing an orientation and an induction. We have Keith to be inducted, so we'll be doing his induction plus a general orientation. That's the last Tuesday of the month. Thank you.
25th, 28th. Can you read your own writing?
28th is the fish fry. Tuesday.
The 21st?
Tuesday, the 25th. Okay. Does anybody else want to say anything?
Yes, Greg.
Great.
Ira.
Yes?
Then Terry. Terry.
President Lloyd, I'd like to guess a little bit more to Steve's announcement on the orientation. All you new Lions, we got 4 here and Sula. That will take care of your orientation, one of your 4 requirements. And then the other is the reminder of the membership contest going on with our district governor. Everybody who brings a member in. It's up till the convention, isn't it? Yeah. So we got about another 4 weeks. Anybody that brings a new member in before that time, your name will be put into a hat for a drawing. And there's a chance you can get, receive a Melvin Jones Fellowship for it. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a second, Terry's next, and then John. He gave you permission.
President Lloyd, Little Lions and Guests, finally a couple of synapses clicked, and I remembered my other happy dollars. And I would be very remiss if I did not especially thank Pat Palmer for coming out and having an enjoyable evening with him, besides getting a boat motor to purr like a kitten.
Connie made dinner.
Okay, Sarah?
Connie made dinner?
Lloyd? Somebody?
Well, I used to be up there, King Lion Lloyd, the Lions and Guests. Being the awards chairman, it seems like we never get enough here on the day I give it out there, so this thing goes on and on and on. Anyway, this is for a gal that does a heck of a lot for this club. So much that you really don't realize it because you expect it all the time from her. And unfortunately, we don't say thank you enough, but before she became the 3rd vice president, and she'll do that for years to come, evidently, at least another one. Sharon Nolan, for all the stuff you've been doing for Lions information and getting word out to the Lions and everything, here for Unsung Lion of the Month for last month. Sharon Nolan, because
Come in. Come here, Lloyd. Get in there. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Give me that microphone. Somewhere out there floating around is the sheet for
Excuse me.
our committees, our volunteer sign-up committees. I can see it's right here. So if you haven't had an opportunity to look it over and pick a place for yourself for this coming year, I will be sending it around the next few weeks probably until that puppy gets filled up. So also somewhere in the room there is a description of our committees and what they do. If you're unsure, it was attached, maybe it still is attached, but if you don't see it and you aren't sure what some of the committees are all about and what they do, see me and I'll get you a copy.
Okay, we also need help on Friday, not just the morning ship at in the afternoon, because it usually ends up being 2 or 3 people left there in the afternoon. So if we can get more people to sign up. If you have a hard time signing up, you can check with either
Cattle corn on Friday.
Calico on Friday.
Every Friday at Safeway.
Okay, if you have trouble signing up, you can check either with Jane or Darlene. They have the sheets there. Jane's gone.
She'll be back. Not today, but, you know.
All right.
She answers her phone. Every Friday.
All right, anybody else have any announcements?
Bob? Fellow Lions guests and President White, just to reiterate, Friday afternoon, Rosie and I were sitting there by ourselves for an hour and a half. So we'd like a little help.
That's like when you're picture with me.
Yeah, well, she is that, but, you know.
Be there at 2 o'clock to say.
Okay, appreciate that. We did pretty good last week. Weather wasn't real cooperative. Did a little bit less than we did the week before, but we're still respectable. And other than that, sure enough, rearrange the tables after the meeting.
This Friday will be nicer weather.
Yeah, that's the plan. All right. Okay, thank you.